Your Holiness, Pope Francis, Your Majesty, dear sisters and brothers, when I was listening to the letter children have written to His Holiness, I am more confident that children of the world consider him as their friend, not as the Holy Father. And people like us also consider, who are fighting for the dignity and freedom of children, we considered you as our friend. I have faith and trust in your concern and your action for children. But at the same time, I feel ashamed. I'm ashamed because we are failing our children every day. I'm ashamed to listen to all these data and statistics that I have been listening and talking for last 45 years. How many children are enslaved? How many children are sold and bought like animals and lesser prices than animals? They are not statistics, they are human beings. Some years ago, as my usual work, when I rescued a group of young children from stone mining, they were all bonded labor for generations, 3 generations. An 8-year-old girl who was traumatized, I was trying to console her and others. She suddenly put her hand on my head, on my back, and asked, "Oh man, why didn't you come sooner?" It was not because she was freed that day, it was because her mother was raped in front of her eyes. And when her father tried to save his wife, he was poked with cigarette. The girl has seen the death of her younger brother in her lap. This was the cry, this was the call of a child, not to me, but to everyone who believe in God, to everyone who believe in Constitution, to everyone who believe in humanity. We have to listen to this cry. I'm not talking and repeating all those data. We know the problems, we know the solutions. But the children who are producing wealth at the cost of their childhood and freedom, whose children are they? Children whose cries are not heard. Innocent children were killed in Gaza, in Ukraine, Syria, different places in the world. Whose children are they? Children who are sold and bought. Whose children are they? They are your children. They are your children. They are your children, they are my children, they are our children. If we don't have that connection and feeling with our children, the warm words are not enough. So, dear friends, we have to go deep into the problem. Rhetorics are not enough. The problem is that we are losing a sense of urgency. There is a serious deficit of moral accountability and moral responsibility, and that is growing. There is a growing gap, and that is also deepening, the gap between the problem solvers and the problem sufferers. We are not really honest to the problem sufferers. This is the problem. And the solution lies in the genuine feeling and connection and an honest urge to take urgent action. And that is compassion. And that is the reason we cannot solve these problems in business as usual manner. We can keep on sitting and coming and talking and coming with good words. But as someone who has freed 130,000 children along with his friends from slavery, me, in my country, resulted in scars in all my body, my broken leg, my broken shoulder, my broken head, my broken back. I can say on the basis of my experience. Someone who was the initiator, the founder and head of two largest global movements, the Global Campaign for Education and Global March Against Child Labor, I can say that business as usual won't work. And that's why we have to dig out some solutions. And that lies in compassion. I'm not talking about just kindness, mercy, benevolence, empathy, sympathy. These are good human traits, but they are not going to solve the deep-rooted problems which have its genesis in systems and structures and institutions, and that perpetuates in itself. It is the compassion. Compassion is the feeling for the suffering of others with an inner compulsion, to take urgent action to solve the problems of others as you know the problem. And that is needed in the world. Your Holiness, we have globalized markets, economies, data, supply, production, constitutions, laws. World has never been so wealthy as it is today, so well informed as it is today. But our children are calling us. This is the time to globalize compassion. And that is the reason I have launched a new movement, new initiative, Satyarthi Movement for Global Compassion, to define, to launch a new idea of compassion quotient, to measure the compassion and enhance the level of compassion in individuals, institutions, societies, and in the nations. We have to fight out this menace and all other crises through compassion and action. We have to create a culture of problem solving. Let us globalize compassion because they are all our children. Thank you.